Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. Today I want to share what in my opinion are the 10 best well-rounded classes in MapleStory. Classes that are decent at everything, nothing excelling, but pretty good at everything else. They have good mobbing, good bossing, good utility, good mobility. And to prepare for this video I created a spreadsheet and rated all classes based on their mobbing, bossing, and then not only including for example stuff like burst damage, but also what type of buffs or advantages they bring to a boss fight, how many iframes a class has, so how many times they can go invincible, and how many binds a class has, so how many times they can make a boss chill out for a couple of seconds, if they're easy to play, and their mobility. I spent a lot of time online looking at videos from all classes doing their thing and gathering other people's their opinions as well. Every class in MapleStory is fun and unique in their own way. If your class didn't make it to this list, that doesn't mean it's bad. Like for example Kaiser, Cannoneer and Dawn Warrior all barely did not make it to the list. Those classes are still extremely strong and fun to play, but in my opinion I would rate some other classes still as better all-rounders. Feel free to share your own opinion on what you think are the best all-rounded classes in the game in the comments. With solid mobbing, bossing and mobility, the Aaron class combos its way into this top 10. Despite being a combo class, Aarons are pretty easy to play. Their combo skills can be triggered by using arrow keys and basic attack combinations, making them pretty easy to master. Even I could do it. Commands can also be locked so you don't accidentally dash into a boss monster when you're mashing your buttons like crazy and accidentally activate one of your combo attacks. Aarons are very mobile. They can dash, double jump, glide in the air while attacking monsters and have a double up jump. And their skill Final Charge will push them forward as well. Training is a breeze with this class thanks to their fit job skills and hyper skills. For example, Maha's Domain is an amazing hyper skill that deals a ton of damage, and to top it off also heals party members their HP and MP and removes the normal statuses. Maha's Fury and Maha's Carnage are great skills to use as well with quite big hitboxes. Their mobbing is mixed up with Final Blow, Beyond the Blade and the occasional regular attack to keep up your swing studies buff. During boss fights, Aarons do a ton of consistent damage, with some burst as well during Adrenaline Rush. They have 2 iframes thanks to their finisher Hunter's Prey skill and a 30-second iframe with the common hero 5th job skill Freud's Wisdom. Aarons can also bind boss monsters with their Blizzard Tempest, providing a window to unleash all your burst at once without having to worry about getting attacked. Aarons do take a bit of practice to master, but it's a great starting class and number 10 on the most well-rounded classes list. Number 9 is reserved for the freshly released class Kain. Kain's main advantage over other classes is his insane mobility thanks to his grappling wire and shadow dash step skills. This dash has a cooldown, but it can be reset when certain execute skills defeat a monster. Kain uses a possession mechanic that enhances his skills. This is a buff that you'll be using a lot. His empowered attacks combined with his mobility make him an excellent mobber, albeit a bit more work compared to some other classes if you will have to constantly apply your malice buff. Enemies hit by Kain's empowered attacks also gain a stack of Death's Blessing. This stack can be consumed when attacking a monster with a stack with an execute skill, and then when that happens you'll deal additional damage 10 more times. It is thanks to this mechanic that Kains are great bosses, applying stacks to their empowered attacks and popping them with their execute skills for some amazing burst. And since your execute skill also resets your dash, you can get in and out of harm's way. But in case you do get caught in a sticky situation, Kain has 2 iframes with his Dragon skill and Thanatos Descent skills, and his Nova common 5th job skill can block out 1 fatal blow as well. Kain does lack a bind, but his overall grinding, bossing capability, iframes and overall easiness to play makes him in my opinion a pretty good all-rounder. Number 8 slashes his way into this list, the pirate class Ark. Ark is one of the more harder to control characters on this list. Most of his attacks displace him, which is amazing when it comes to grinding. Ark's skills have also pretty big hitboxes and allow him to move around fast. When transformed, his movement gets even crazier. When bossing, Ark can do an amazing amount of damage in a short time, but his attacks have to be animation cancelled to stop his movements. This isn't super difficult to pull off, but does require good timing and practice, adding a layer of complexity to boss fights where a single wrong step could, mean death. Most of Ark attacks double as a buff, making those easy to maintain as well since you're attacking anyway, and he has 2 iframes, the Creeping Terror skill and the Abyssal Recall skill, plus a bind to make his bossing life a lot easier. Arks are able to dish out a lot of damage with very little funding, but do have a steeper learning curve than most other classes on this list. Number 7 on this list is none other than the Resistance Magician, the Battle Mage. This is a different take on the mage class that has some unique advantages compared to some other classes. Battle Mages are extremely tanky. Recently this class finally got an iframe, and they are insane grinders with their 5th job skills. This class does take a little bit to get going. Mobility wise, this class has one of the best teleports in the game. It can be used anywhere and is part of the core kit of the Battle Mage. However, on the other side, this does also bring some issues, because teleporting left and right on bosses brings its own risks, and battle mages do lose out on some damage if you don't actually constantly teleport around the boss, but their utility that they bring to the boss fight does make up for that. Buffing party members and debuffing monsters with their auras, they can easily turn the tide of battle, and they can pop a quite useful shield as well. Battle mages have no trouble sustaining themselves during battles and are very easy and straightforward to play. This combined with their great mobility and amazing grinding places them higher on the list than some people might have expected. It does take some time and practice to learn how to properly boss with this class due to the way their kit works, but overall the battle mage is quite solid and a pretty good all-rounder. We're continuing the list with newer release classes, as number 6 is for the Floral Warrior Adele. Adele combines easy one-button mobbing with great mobility and about 50 million swords that fly around to destroy everything in your path. Adele is one of those classes that excels at a lot. Since bossing is also no problem for this class, they can dish out plenty of damage with their 5th job skills. Adels have a 60-second cooldown iframe with their Eater Guard skill and a 180-second cooldown iframe with their Infinity Blade skill, plus a bind which always comes in handy. This class can double jump, up jump, float, jump backwards and rush either towards crystals or forward with their Renaissance Rush skill, so there's no lack of mobility either, even though it isn't as extreme as Ark's movement for example. Adel's passive hyper skills also increase your main attack's bossing damage and ignore enemy defense, making it work just a bit better against bosses. Together with their passive healing and simplicity, this class is not only well-rounded, but also better at mobbing and bossing than some other classes. Number 5 on this list is another newer class which is extremely versatile and strong, but with the downside of having to need a few additional keys for your keyboard, the Anima Thief Hoyong. Hoyongs can use about 20 skills, and some of those have cooldowns that need to be kept in mind, as well as multiple resource gauges that have to be maintained. His playstyle is very rewarding though. This is not a combo class, but rather a resource and cooldown management class. Once Hoyongs find a nice skill rotation for the map they're in, they are excellent grinders with plenty of damage, big range attacks and a ton of mobility. They can displace themselves with their skills if they want to, fly a cloud, and they can double jump twice, so mobility is no problem either. This class can also place down warp gates to make training in bigger maps possible or to cheese certain boss fights. Their bossing is equally amazing, with tons of burst and utility to keep them alive. Hoyongs have a 20-second iframe hyper skill, and their Wrath of the Gods skill is also an iframe when you use that full screen attack. And of course their bossing kit wouldn't be complete without a stun. The Taiyu clone hyper skill can stun monsters and has a 200-second cooldown. The Hoyong class is amazing at what it does, but Maples will have to remain focused to keep track of all the skill cooldowns and its gauges when grinding and bossing, giving this class a higher skill ceiling. The next class popping up was a surprise for me when I first made this list, but after having a good thought about it, it does make sense. The Hero Thief Phantom steals the 4th spot when it comes to most well-rounded classes. It is no surprise to many Maplers that Phantom isn't in the best spots right now. This class has low skill damage percentages and stolen skills are weaker than their original counterparts. But stealing skills is also what makes this class extremely versatile and unique. Phantoms have an answer to every map when it comes to grinding, as long as there are explorers around to steal skills from. Their own base skills aren't all that great though. Bossing wise, it are the explorer skills that make this class shine. For example, stealing buffs from explorers or certain skills to deal with bosses. They aren't exactly known for their damage, but they do bring a ton of utility to the fight. And they have a ton of survivability as well. Phantom's final feint is an iframe and revives him when he dies. He can steal monster buffs with Voldam, which makes you invincible against some attacks. The 5th job skill Luck of the Draw is an iframe when the card draw animation is shown. Phantom's Mark has a 2-second iframe, and of course the common 5th job hero skill Freud's Will also has a 30-second iframe. Plus Phantoms can steal explorer skills, so they could, let's say, steal Paladin's iframe for an additional iframe, or Darkside to dodge the breeze when bossing, or you know, both. Phantoms have some crazy burst with their Luck of the Draw skill, and they can buff party members at the same time, but once their burst skills are on cooldown, they do leave a little bit to desired. It's not easy to get started as a Phantom due to their low damage in lines, but their versatility does make up for that, solidifying them in the 4th spot on this list of most well-rounded classes. Number 3 on this list is reserved for the Demon Slayer, another class that some might not have expected to be placed this high. When it comes to all-roundness though, this class is pretty much above average at mobbing, bossing, surviving and mobility, without any drawbacks really. Demon Slayers have a very simplistic playstyle. When training, you're only using your Infernal Concussion dashing skill together with your 5th job skills and the occasional hyper skill and regular attack to recover Demon Fury. The mobile skills have quite decent range as well for a warrior. A Demon Slayer won't blow up a boss in a couple of seconds anytime soon, but their Demon Impact bossing skill has passive increased boss damage, passive increased ignore defense and always crits, making it excellent to cut through any boss monster. Combined with their 5th job skills, they're excellent damage dealers, and they offer some utility as well with their Leech Aura party healing skill. Being a class with wings, Demon Slayers can fly, glide, double jump, up jump, dash with their Dark Thrust attack and teleport with their Chaos Lock attack, so mobility wise they're pretty great as well. Demon Slayers also have 3 iframes, the 30-second cooldown Ravenstorm, the 90-second cooldown Dark Metamorphosis and the 5th job skill Demon Bane. The iframe only triggers in the second part for that skill though, but both Ravenstorm and Dark Metamorphosis are 3rd and 4th job skills, meaning that those skills are affected by cooldown reduction, making it easier for the Demon Slayer to iframe multiple attacks quicker compared to some other classes. The same goes for their Bind, which is just a regular common 4th job skill. Demon Slayers don't need a lot of funding to feel powerful thanks to their high base stats and lines, and while they do not have insane grinding skills or amazing one-shot potential, their kit is very well rounded and pretty easy to execute. We've reached the top 2 of this list. Did you expect all classes so far? Let me know in the comments. Number 2 on this list is actually also 2 characters. Introducing the Zero class, soon available again in a MapleStory Global near you by the time this video is uploaded. Zeros are excellent mobbers and bosses with a ton of mobility and utility in their skill kit. Similar to Phantom, they do suffer a bit from lower damage, but their many other advantages do make up for that. Zero is one of the few classes with 2 binds. Their critical barrier skill has a 10% chance to bind monsters for 4 seconds, but the cooldown for this bind works different than the other binds, allowing Zero to apply this specific bind every 35 seconds instead of the usual 90 seconds. Zeros also have multiple iframes, like for example the time holding skill that makes them invincible for 15 seconds, and the rewind skill that revives them when they receive a fatal blow and makes them invincible for a short duration as well. Zeros are a combo class, as you'll be linking alphas and beta skills together to create a symphony of destruction. There are various combos that can be used when training and bossing, making this class even more flexible. Zeros can also double jump, dash, and some of alpha skills displace you, making it very easy to dodge during boss fights. Zero is one of the best all-round characters in my opinion, with a slight learning curve. The number 1 best well-rounded class, the one that stands on top of all other classes when it comes to roundness, is to no surprise no one other than Kanna. Kanna is very good at basically everything. She's one of the best grinders in the game thanks to her spawn increasing skill, as well as many summons and big range attacks. She's an excellent bosser thanks to her amazing utility, even outshining bishops, you know, the class that's supposed to be the number 1 utility thing. Kannas have 2 binds and 2 iframes, and she can place down those useful barriers, increasing her own and party members' boss damage and reducing incoming damage. Kannas can also heal and buff party members even more with their 5th job skill Spirit Domain, all the while not losing out on any damage. Similar to other classes though, Kanna is not a class that will burst down a boss within a few seconds, but her amazing utility makes her a must-have for most boss parties. Kannas can also teleport to veins that they create on the map, and fly backwards thanks to their Shikigami charm skill, giving her an edge when it comes to boss battles. Below level 200 it can be a bit rough to start out as a Kanna due to the low HP, but once they're strong enough, their passive Lifeblood Ritual skill, which recovers 5% of your max HP when you defeat a monster, will really start to kick in and you'll never have to use potions again. Kannas aren't just well-rounded, they excel at mobbing and utility, maybe even a bit too much. And that concludes this list. Let me know what you think of my picks and if there are any other well-rounded classes that you would recommend. As always, many thanks to our members for making this video possible. Thanks to Niels de Coninck, Raar maar waar, Sebastian Hanoy, FLX, Ryalias, Historycanon, Vareese, Dries Zumker, Plux, Wiley, Francisco Sousa, Historycanon, BackSpaceOTI, ceemak, Saffronyx, Alonso BG Extremes, Anwar NHI, Brendon, Frank Bouquet, Ziggy Deer, Flidiot, Beema WT, Knifesu, Chen125, Pinky Traveler, Cloudfix, Gusus Rodriguez, Sir QQ Morse, Froggy11, Sir22655, Grayson Lee, Ricer RU, Brandon Cam, Vira, Bruno H, Dular, Trevor, Yuki436, Afterlord_MS, Sinfralido, Rythius, Johnman, Lucky Beats, Justin Vale, and Silvio Nito. If you'd like to be mentioned here as well and get early access to new videos, make sure to check out that join button below this video. Thank you all so much for watching, stay safe and happy mapling!